This might be one of the most interesting tools I've ever used to color grade my footage. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is obviously very intriguing to a lot of people in the video space, especially in the sports video space as well, and that is color grading. But more specifically, I want to talk about a plugin that I've been using recently that has significantly changed the way that I color grade and also has allowed me to develop a brand new style that I've been really into recently. You've probably noticed this trend for the last little while amongst the filmmaking and video creation sphere of emulating film stocks and, film simulations in our video and photo content. What is old has become popular again, and a lot of people are really obsessed and enjoying trying to recreate a film style look using our modern cameras, and like everyone else, I've been guilty of this as well. While my ability to color grade has grown and changed over the years as a sports creative, the film emulation style has definitely worked its way very slowly into my creative process. And I've recently had the opportunity to try a very unique plugin that will allow you to get that film look a lot easier in your sports footage if that's something you're looking to acquire or create in your own work. And this plugin is Dehancer. Dehancer is essentially a plugin that will allow you to color grade and emulate different film styles that are built directly within the plugin to create that film look. These can range from incredibly popular photography film stock like Portra 400 and Portra 800, but also ones that you can see in major films and TV shows like Ektachrome and Kodak Vision 500T. Now, Dehancer I think is definitely a tool that is targeting more people in more traditional video spaces like commercial, film, or narrative. However, I was very curious to see how these film emulations would look when it comes to shooting live sporting events, especially because when you're shooting these events, you don't really have control of the lighting or the environment that you're in, and that can really heavily impact how a plugin like this would affect your footage. Now, I want to be very clear, Dehancer did not pay me to make this video. They did reach out to me, they did offer me access to the plugin in order to make this review, but they have no say in what I'm about to say in regards to the plugin itself. I want to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this tool, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and whether it's worth adding to your repertoire as a sports content creator. All right, to give you guys an idea of how Dehancer Pro can be used to color grade your footage, we're going to be working with this clip of Austin Matthews that I captured earlier this year. One important note to make is that I did color correct this before, but you can also do that within Dehancer Pro itself. I just like doing it beforehand and having some control of how my image looks before I apply the plugin to get going. You're going to notice right off the bat, there are a lot of options as to what you can do to edit this once you open up the plugin. One of the first things I always do is I go and apply a film emulation onto my footage. You can tell right now there are a lot of options here, and you're going to really have to experiment to see what works best. You can see me right here trying different things just to see what the base look looks like, and I end up deciding on a look that I think suits the clip well. This is all personal preference, and I end up going with a Kodak Portra 400. Portra 400 is an incredibly popular photography film stock, and I really like the way that there's like a slight cyan blue tinge in the highlights and the midtones, and I end up editing this as my base look. And from here, I start to give the footage character by adjusting the specific attributes. Specifically, I like to work a lot with bloom. I like to add some film grain. I like to work with halation a little bit. And you can notice that there's so many different ways that you can customize this. For almost every single option in this plugin, you can either choose a preset option or just make one custom built yourself. And you really have a lot of flexibility to make the footage what you want. Here right now, I'm messing around with making some custom bloom to make the highlights pop a little more. And from here on, we're just going to speed up the rest of the process because, as you can tell, there are really minor adjustments, and I'm just trying out different things here to see what works best on my footage. And I really just like the depth that this plugin has for you to either build off of an existing film stock or build something completely unique to your style. I really enjoy the fact that it works seamlessly with something like Lumetri. As you can tell, I'm still adjusting things on both sides as I create my final look. I'm a really big fan of the ability to change the bloom and the halation, and also the film grain. The film grain has been one of my favorite parts about using this plugin, and there are so many more things that I didn't even touch on this clip, just showing the depth of what you can do with this. But I'm also a person who likes to say less is more, so I only did so much to this clip while color grading it. Now that I've gone over my process of actually using Dehancer to color grade my footage, let's go over the pros and cons of what this plugin offers and whether it's worth your time and money. First off, when it comes to ease of use, this is a very easy plugin to learn and start using right away. Whether you're on Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, or Final Cut Pro, you're really quickly able to learn how to adapt this to your footage and start color grading right away and getting a really good image right off the bat. The plugin is compatible with pretty much every single picture profile on every popular camera there is, and you can even use it if your footage is already corrected to a Rec 709 picture profile. Secondly, I love the in-depth flexibility and customization that you're able to get with this plugin in terms of emulating film in every single aspect. From adding halation, bloom, changing the type of grain that you have in your image, adding film damage, there's so many different things in this plugin. The amount of different presets and film stocks that are available, the amount that you're able to flex and customize the look of your image through this one plugin is honestly incredible. If you want to add realistic film grain to your footage, you can do that. If you want to get that bloomy look as if you were using a Pro Mist filter but you didn't have one in the first place, done. The flexibility of this plugin is one of the biggest selling points for me in order to be able to really dial in the film look that you want, and it looks great on pretty much any type of footage that you put it on, as long as you exposed it correctly and you shot it in the right manner. And at the end of the day, you can really dial it back or push the look as much as you want depending on what your preference is. Overall, I think the plugin does exactly what it's advertised to do and gets you a high quality film look in a really easy manner. Now, a lot of people are going to say you can do all this already on DaVinci Resolve if you haven't, but not everyone edits on that program. If you're using Premiere Pro, if you're using Final Cut, is a really clean and easy way to get that film look really quickly. And even if you're on DaVinci Resolve, it does save you a lot of time. And I think the convenience of this plugin is another pro in the first place. Now that I'm done with the good stuff, I'm going to start talking about some of the cons that I found with this plugin, because like I said, I'm not getting paid to make this review, and I really do want to be honest with you guys about the feasibility of adding a plugin like this to your editing repertoire. First of all, the price. The price is the biggest con by far that has turned me off in the past from getting this plugin, and probably what is turning off a lot of people if you already clicked the link in my bio or you've Googled it already. If you want the lifetime license of this plugin of Dehancer Pro, it is $449 USD. That is a lot of money for a plugin, at least in my opinion. $449 compared to something like DaVinci Resolve, which is a full-blown editing software, one of the best out there, at $295 USD. It's a tough sell for me to spend almost $500 on a plugin when I could get a full editing software for almost half the price, because this is just a plugin. It's not a full editing suite at all, and that's one of my biggest gripes with it. Yeah, they do have options for a 1 year, 6 month, and 3 month licenses, but they're all over about $150, still making it a really tough pill to swallow if you're paying this in increments over time. For me, it's just a really tough sell as a consumer, because at the end of the day, I want to get the lifetime license, because if I really enjoy this product, it's going to become part of my workflow, and half of $1,000 or almost that for a plugin is a really hard thing to stomach, especially because there are other color grading plugins out there that do a great job for half the price. Again, don't get me wrong, Dehancer is really, really great and you can get some amazing results from it, but is it really worth $500 for a lifetime license to add into your repertoire? Secondly, if you're not used to using film or not really familiar with terminology when it comes to film, it can be a little bit confusing. Terms like halation, bloom, and film breath can be very overwhelming for someone who's never worked in this kind of color grading space. I know I said it was an easy plugin to work with, but that's because I kind of have some familiarity with these terms and what it's like working with actual film. There's definitely not a crazy learning curve here though, and you can definitely really quickly research and learn a lot of things, and there's definitely tutorials out there that are going to teach you how to use this plugin to its maximum potential, but it's just something to keep in mind before you go ahead and invest in it. Overall, is Dehancer a plugin I would recommend to sports creatives? If you're looking for a quick and easy method to get it that doesn't involve, shooting on actual film, or maybe learning more in-depth color grading techniques on something like DaVinci Resolve, and you can handle that price point that I talked about earlier, by all means, give it a go. I will say though, at that price point, you're really going to want to think twice, because there are a lot of things you can buy with $500 USD to enhance your filmmaking and creative skills in a lot of different ways. This is basically a luxury, a shortcut to getting that style of look that you may want. And also keep in mind that this is not necessarily something that will be a quick fix for your color grading. You should still have a small grasp and understanding of how to properly color correct and color grade footage in the first place. And it's not just something they're going to be able to slap onto anything and make it look good. If you're not exposing your videos correctly, if you're not shooting your videos correctly, you're not going to get the results that I've shown and going to get the results that other people are able to with this program. You have to take the time to learn the basics before you jump into something like this. Again, especially with that price point, make sure you're comfortable with your skill level already in color grading before you decide to invest in something like this. I've personally really enjoyed using Dehancer because I'm able to get that film style look, which is really popular these days. And even though that film emulation look is really popular in a lot of other like video genres, it hasn't really made its way into sports just as much. And whenever I see someone do it outside of what I'm doing, it always catches my eye a little bit. So I think there is a small practical advantage to being able to emulate that style well to catch people's eyes. That being said though, there is a time and a place for very specific looking color grades, whether it's something more contrasty and punchy or something a little bit lighter, less contrasty, more similar to film. And it's not something that I'm going to use all the time, but I do think that for the right project here and there, it's definitely beneficial for me to have it in my repertoire as a video editor and creator. If you guys want to try out Dehancer for free, they do offer a free trial using the link down in my description below. And if you guys try it out and decide you want to invest in the full plugin, then you can use the code down below in my description for 10% off your purchase. And that does it for today's video. A big thank you goes out to you guys for being patient as I haven't posted in a little while. Happy to be back. And also thank you to Dehancer for letting me review and try out your product. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing down below.